And so here we are, and welcome into another wonderful casual Wednesday in our virtual community here in the sanctuary in Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living. And if there's anybody joining us for the first time, we're so delighted you're here with us and will spend this time with us, and we trust you'll revisit again and maybe bring a friend. So my dear ones, it's time for that pick-me-up on Wednesday, a little bit of a spiritual boost in the arm, so to speak. And so we're going to center ourselves now in the awareness of all that's great and grand and glorious with regard to our own lives and all of life, by allowing ourselves to take ourselves out of the busyness of the embodiment, the outer world, and enter in for just a moment into the interior world, where everything is the eye of the storm, peaceful, calm, and absolutely blissfully tranquil. And we can do this, and the portal is the breath. So we focus on our breath, the breath of life, the pranayama, and we know that as we're breathing, we're in touch consciously with the greatness of ourselves and the moreness of ourselves and the essential essence of ourselves. It's pure energy. That's what the breath is. So, and it's the eternality of us. It's the breath of us that continues. That's the energetic of us. That's what, out of which everything flows, the breath of life. And as we are told in scripture, Spirit breathes into the waters and so on and so forth, and life is the result. So let's breathe some life into ourselves and out from ourselves. And as we breathe in, let's know we're breathing in a blessing. And then, glory of glories, we can breathe out that blessing and bless the whole of creation as a result. And all we are is being blessedness. Now, what greater more could we be than blessedness? So let's now take ourselves out of the exterior world and let us enter into the world of inner peace and inner tranquility and the presence, consciously awake in it. And we do that. For those of us who are very comfortable with it, let's close our eyes, because there's less of a distraction when we close our eyes. So we close our eyes and we just focus on nothing else but the breath. I'm breathing in the life force of being, it's a blessing. I'm breathing it out as a blessing. And just focus on your breathing and what it does to your body, the effect it has on your body as you're consciously aware of breathing in and breathing out. And I would recommend you breathe in as deeply as you can and breathe out as fully as you can. And on the in-breath, hold for a moment before you exhale, and then exhale. So let's be in the presence of the one, and consequently be in each other's presence as the one. So I settle down. I allow myself to come to stillness. I allow the body to come to rest, to be still, to be quiet. I allow the mind to come to rest, to be still and to be quiet. And I just know that the breath of life is breathing me as I align myself with that peace that passes understanding, that fills me always, but when I'm consciously aware of it is when I most allow its blessing to encompass all that I am and everything around and about me, everything above and below me, in that beautiful, grace-filled blanket of life and light and love and peace and beauty and power, energy and joy. And I just allow myself to luxuriate in knowing that the presence is breathing me and I am breathing it. And as it moves into me, it blesses my mind, my body, my heart, and my soul. It blesses all the body of my affairs. And as it moves out from me, it blesses everything and everyone around me and all of creation into that same beauty and grace, into that fullness and plenty, into that loving relationship and the sense of it within all, and into health and well-being, and frees the embodiment and the soul to freely express the divinity of itself, the unconditional love of itself, and to free it to go forth into a world that is open and receptive as never before to healing, to mending, to fixing, to integrating, to unifying, and to calling all into the awareness, the experience, the understanding of what it is to be one, and to recognize the one in all of life and all of living, the beauty and the grace that has always been in each and every individualized expression of spirit comes to life and expression when I'm conscious, awake, alert, and aware of the true essence of being, my being and all being. And then all of creation and all of nature becomes that one great cacophony of love and light and lifefulness that only causes all in creation to be nurtured and nourished and to thrive and to flourish and to be all that each individual expression is created to be and is capable of being, so that all of life is given freedom to fully express itself as the divine idea it was once in the mind of the Creator. And for all of life to be singing that one song of unity and harmony and oneness. That's what I see on the inside of life. That's what I know on the inside of life. And that is what I feel on the inside of life. The beauty and the grace of what it is to be alive, to be living, to be a living expression of the divine idea that I am, always with the ability of unfolding and becoming more and more and more and more of truth in expression. It is good. It is very, very good. And what I know for myself, I know for every aspect of life and living and every person, place and thing, the blessedness of the presence and the ability to access that presence in all times, in all situations, and to grow as a consequence, to expand as a consequence, to become more and more of myself as a consequence. This is what is possible. All things are possible. And there is no exception. And faith makes it so. Thinking in faith makes it so. So I bless my sense of creativity. I bless my sense and capability of thinking as an awakened being thinks, in a sense that is always coming from wholeness and completeness of being. That is what is mine to know, to express, and to experience now, right now. So, relaxing, releasing, and letting go of any sense other than that of I am, an individual expression of the divine itself, here to flourish and to thrive, to make the difference, to contribute, to create a world that works for all of life throughout all of creation, and to place on life's table every day my portion of my amazing and abundant daily bread. That daily bread that is divinely provided and given is always enough, and the enough is always plenty. And out of it, I have a divine reserve from which I can share, and do so very gladly. And the more I do, the more I have to share. It's so beauteous the way that miracle of life works. As I give, so do I receive. A simple, beautiful, spiritual principle that never fails to work. I'm blessed to know this. All who do are blessed to know this. And blessed even more are those who live by this awareness of truth. As I give, so too do I receive. And how rich I am, how full I am, how blessed I am in the process. This is what I'm knowing, not just for myself, because myself exists in every person, place, and thing. I know it for all life. Every time I know something good for myself, I am absolutely knowing it for all of life, and the divine mind in me knows that that is always my intention, whether I am awake to it or not. My intention is that any good I desire for myself, I desire for all of life, all of it. And as I think it, desire it, intend it, I know. And so it is. The cosmos knows it, the law of life knows it. And when that is the case, it is always done unto me as I declare. And with a grateful heart and an absolute joyous spirit and an eagerness to live fully my life, I release all of this that I know. And it's responded to loudly and clearly in the affirmative as I say, and so it is. And so it is, it really is. Isn't that amazing? Oh, it always amazes me, no matter what, it never gets old when I can get myself into that awareness of the central teaching of science of mind and spirit. the teaching that we are all one. The founder, Ernest Holmes, states it so clearly in bold letters in his handbook, The Science of Mind. One, 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 and that's the word I would associate with him, as I would associate Troward with recognition, 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 and as I would associate Emerson with trust in yourself. Self, self, self is his word. Trust the self within yourself. And don't deviate from that, all of them would say, from the words that they give us to ponder. They're all saying the same thing. Focus on something bigger and greater and better than yourself. Because there's always more, isn't there? There's always more to us than meets the eye. Now that's a good thing to know about everyone we meet. My gosh, oh golly gee. I've been studying since I was knee-high to a grasshopper all things that I could get my hands on pertaining to spirituality. Because the idea of God fascinated me, scared me at times, but fascinated me more than it scared me, even as a little child. And there were certain things that we were taught that even as a child I couldn't stomach. So, I could never understand how holy God could love you today and damn you to hell tomorrow. It never made sense to me. All of a sudden you're loved by holy God, and then the next day, holy God's going to send me straight to hell. And, it made no sense. Not at all. But however, back to the point I'm endeavoring to make is that the more I study, and this is the truth, and I don't say it glibly, the more I realize I have learned very little. I know very little, insofar as I could state absolutely that this is so. There's very little I could state absolutely that this is so. Very, very little. Because I have to make sure it's what I am, me, believing, and not all the compounded stuff I have imbibed from the outer world in whatever way, since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. I'm having to be able to move through that and see and decipher what is really mine to know, or own as it is what I know, for sure, for certain, sure. And I love the work of Byron Katie. I mean, her word would be, are you sure? Are you sure? Her words, are you sure? Are you sure that's true? You are? Are you sure it's absolutely true? You see. And when she pushes the second question, absolutely true? Well, I think few of us can answer that one with a firm, assertive yes. We're seeking and searching for the truth that sets us free, and that's the only truth. Is this the truth? Well, it's not the truth. It's never the truth when you're saying it or I'm saying it. It is your truth, it is my truth, but it's never the truth that sets us free, or we'd be free, wouldn't we? But this lovely little book is called The Gentle Art of Blessings. And it's just a little snippet that includes Byron Katie's, an excerpt from her, 1,000 Names for Joy, Living in Harmony with the Way Things Are. Byron Katie stresses, time and time again, the superficial nature of most human thinking. For Katie, as most people call her, believing our thoughts is the main cause of suffering. She states that thoughts are no more individual than the television programs we watch. Thoughts, she says, can't ever be a problem to me because I have questioned them and seen that no thought is true. You either believe in your thoughts or you don't. There's no other choice, she writes. So in her research, she's discovered no human thought she's talking about is true. The only true thought is truth itself, which is the divine truth, the absolute truth. And that's the only truth. And so for me, as I do the study and the study and the same study, it's the same subject, but it sometimes seems like the same study, but it's not, because every time we bring ourselves to study, we're bringing a new self to it. We've changed in some way since. We've left it even if it was only an hour ago. And we have to be very, very, very clear. And you learn this from watching people who are eyewitnesses and so on. And they all have a different version of the one truth. What is the color of something? They can never come up with the same color very often, and so on. We have so many instances of that to prove to us that be careful what you state as an absolute, because it's not true. It's not, because you or I just don't know all of the circumstances or all of the situations these people were judging have been in and why they arrived at where they arrived, nor do we know enough of their thinking methods and so on and so forth to be absolute about the individual. I can make an absolute statement about a behavior or something like that. For me, because when you study human mores, the customs in different cultures and so on, what is an official offense in one culture is not in another, and so on and so forth. Our mores are different from culture to culture, and within each family, they all have their own rules and regulations and so on and so forth. So when it comes to being in a position to judge something, we have to be very, very careful about that. We truly do. And I mean, at this stage in our lives and living, there's a lot coming up, and we're judging a lot as a consequence of it. Now, there is honest judgment that we come to when we've done all we can to be as clear as we possibly can be. But then there's judgmentalism. And the difference between judgmentalism and honest judgment is that in judgmentalism, we just maybe don't like somebody, or we don't know somebody or a group or whatever, and so we just go along with what the group thinking is about them. Well, if the group thinks this, I think that way too. And it's not the whole truth. None of it is. It's not the whole truth. So we have to be very, very, very careful. Now, as I study groups too, and I have had an opportunity to be studying groups recently, I've realized that, okay, their manifesto may be obnoxious or whatever, but then I've learned that not everybody in the group is in agreement with that manifesto, and that a lot of people in the group are in it to try and change things around. So from that, I've learned I can't judge everybody in the group under one banner. It's difficult. It's challenging. So the only thing we can do is to draw from the truth itself, the presence within ourselves, and be with it and sit with it in meditation and in deep, open receptivity to what is true for me with regard to how do I respond to this now. And then go with your true, intuitive thinking and feeling. That's all we can do. That's what I've come to. That's all we can do. And then again, to be much more of the observer and the witness than the judge and the jury. But however, those of us in leadership do have responsibilities, and we're all in leadership. in our families and from our families out. We're all in leadership. We really, truly, those who are in leadership must have a very wide vision to be able to see things from all angles. And it's not easy. And everyone makes mistakes. And the best that we can do is not to make the same mistake over and over again. So we are called to a very high way of living all of our lives, but especially now. A high way of living, which is a high way of thinking, a high way of feeling, and high just means conscious, a very conscious way of living and a very conscious way of thinking. That's our calling right now. And so let us all be aware that our thought processes are contributing to our well-being in every way and to the well-being of the world, depending upon us keeping our thinking conscious, and our thinking whole, and our thinking high. And high means deep as a result of deep thought. We can raise the energy high in our own lives and in the life of the world. We really can. We're very, very empowered people. We are absolutely capable of moving through whatever with grace and ease, in peace and joy, in health, in well-being, in loving relationship with all, and amazingly creatively expressing, because that's what we're made to be and do. Truly, that's what we're made to be and do. That's what we are in truth, and that's what we can be in our way of living, but not without opening the portal to be the outlet to the inlet of grace. Not without understanding that we are the inlet to grace and are supposed to be the outlet too. Not without understanding that we're not just a separate individual. We are, all of us, united in life as the one thing. The presence and the empowerment of spirit in human form, spirit's own expression of life in human form. That's our moreness, that's our greatness. That's our opportunity to be all that we can be in the knowing and in the drawing from it. And we draw from it by becoming conscious of it, becoming present to it. And once we do that, we're not doing it to ask for anything. We're not doing it at all. No asking, none whatsoever. We're just enjoying being in the wholeness and in the presence and in the fullness of spirit. And as we know that, somehow or another, and I don't know how it happens, all of life knows it too. All of life knows it because I'm connected to all of life, as you are, as all life is connected to each other. That's just how it is. I mean, it's Nelson Mandela himself who said, when one of my people are not free, when all of my people are not free, I cannot feel free. I am one with my people. And as long as one of them is not free, I am not free. That's a beautiful understanding and awareness to come to. And so I feel the very same way about our children. As long as one of them is not free to flourish and to thrive and to have a safe life and a good life, How can I? And all of the children of the world are our children, all of them without exception, all of them. And I take a great lesson from nature. The other day, one of my Celtic loop group through WhatsApp, everybody checks in and shares a lot of things. There came a beautiful picture from one of them. And it's an impossible picture that you would absolutely think that this was rigged. It wasn't. And a lioness was trying to take her cub to water, but the cub was getting so dehydrated, the little cub could not walk another step and just lay down panting. The lioness was in distress for her cub. Well, of course, an elephant just happened to be around. The elephant picked up the cub in its trunk. And the picture shows the elephant walking toward the water with the little cub in its trunk, and the lioness mother walking right beside the elephant. And they're marching straight to where the water is. Now, if that is not a miracle, when the lion cub can lie down in the trunk of an elephant and the lioness walk beside them to the watering hole, I don't know what is a miracle. Nature teaches us all the time. If nature, enemies between each other supposedly, can be like that, what's stopping us? What is stopping us? Why can't we own each other like that elephant owned that baby cub as though it was its own little baby in need of care and attention? It's a wonderful meditation to think upon. And I will try and get that picture up on the website. And please do look in on it, because it is enthralling. It brought a tear to my eye when I saw it. So, all of us have that instinct in us, animal kingdom, etc., that really basically we're all one and we're all here to help each other out. You see it everywhere in nature. It's not unusual for different species to adopt babies of other species. It really isn't, but it's certainly unusual when a lion cub is picked up by an elephant as the lioness mother walks alongside of them. That is rare. So, my dear ones, I'm just saying that you and I have a capacity to be anything and everything we want to be. We can be an amazing expression of life itself. We can absolutely change this world. Why not? And we have to think it. If we know we can, we really can. We can change the world. Yes, all of the world. Not just my world, but all of the world. And the way we do it is by changing my own world. That's all. I don't have to get out there and run around from country to country and change the world. I don't. I just have to be the best of myself and change things around me. When that happens, it's like osmosis. It is infectious. It gets, the waves of that go out, and those waves are picked up and influence others to do likewise. That's how it happens, like you drop the pebble in the pool, and the rings and the rings and the rings and flow and flow and flow until the bank stops them. So, my dear ones, let's be with it. Let us be with it. I happen to be, when I have a moment or two, Star Wars all came on, and I didn't see all the latest ones and so on. So sometimes when I'm on my glider, I'll watch a Star Wars movie that I haven't seen. And it's all about the Force being with us, or whether the Force is weak or whether the Force is strong, and so on and so forth. And I think it's just like us. Sometimes the power and the presence of Spirit is strong in its expression through us, and sometimes it's not so strong, so we have to do whatever it takes to keep it strong. And that would be think good thoughts, feel good feelings, do good deeds, and the rest takes care of itself. It's as simple as that. There are people in the world that never really have meditated, but because they're just thinking good thoughts all the time and having good feelings all the time and doing good things all the time, unconsciously, that power, that presence is working through them and great good happens around them. Now, anything is possible for you and anything is possible for me. Even those of us in the direst of situations right now, we can turn those right around. And I'm not saying it's an easy fix, it's not, because we have to learn how to rely upon our own resources, and the biggest resource of all is the power and the presence of Spirit within us that can show us the way. One of my favorite aspirations is divine mind in me knows and divine mind in me shows me the way. That's one of my favorite ones, because most of the time I don't know. I really don't know. So I declare I don't know this, but the knower within me knows it. And the knower within me will reveal it through me. And so there we are. So let's have patience with each other. Let's be gentle with each other. Let's stop judging each other just because whatever somebody says doesn't hit me right or doesn't agree with me or whatever. Stop it. Let's stop that nonsense. And don't form any judgment until you've talked to the person and asked them, what did you mean by that? Because I don't know whether I understood you or not. I understood that to mean this, that, or the other. Let's do that for each other at least. That's one thing we can clearly do. And besides, if our thoughts, I read recently, I can't remember who said it, but it was a gentleman, I think, who said that once he started to turn all of his thoughts into blessings, his whole life changed. So I will leave us with that invitation to turn all, especially our irritable thoughts, turn them into blessings, and then everything changes. And I'm safeguarded, and so is my health and well-being. Instead of irritation, I'm blessing, and that does wonders for all of those little cells in the body and the atoms too. So, my dear ones, I'm going to leave you with a reminder of who you are. The world will tell you enough about the negative stuff, but I'm telling you the truth. You are a point of light. You are a point of power. You are the means by which the infinite, intelligent life form itself has chosen to express itself in form through you. And so that point of power that you are, that point of light that you are, is radiating all of its magnificence through you. The power that created you is radiating that power, that presence, that magnificence through you. And it's up to you to give it the outlet. And you can give it that much of an outlet or that much of an outlet. It's up to you. So just relax, release and let go of everything you've ever thought until now. Clear your mind and start a new process of thinking. And allow all of that process to be a thinking of blessing and blessing and blessing. And you will be a channel of pure light, a channel of pure love, a channel of pure essence. And you will be keeping this planet like Hercules on your shoulders through the blessings that pour out into this world through you. It's awesome. It's an amazing thing. It's magical. And so now, my dear ones, we come to the part that I like best, and that's when we can actually give. And, you know, it's always been a spiritual tradition across the cultures to support the spiritual centers that support us. And I delight, and I've been doing this for a long time now, and every time I get a chance to do it, it really, it inspires me. And so join me now in blessing your gift. And I know some of you have already sent it in and so on and so forth, but at the same time, join your hands as blessing hands and bless your good. And know you'll always have that good, and it'll be plenty. So this is what we're knowing. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper all those who receive and all those who give. So I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I release my gift with love. And so it is. And so until we meet again, my dear ones, know that you are loved, you are cherished, you are prayed up. God knows you're prayed up every single day. And your beauty and your grace is making all the difference in the world out there. So go out and be your best and great good selves, and stay tuned in to all that's going on in your spiritual center. We love you. We appreciate you. We're very grateful to you for all of your support. Mwah, mwah.